First, thank everybody for listening to the expert panel here. We have Jonathan and Isaac both joining us from South Florida in Miami. And before I jump into it, I want to allow the both of them to introduce themselves. So give us a little bit of your background and a little bit about yourself. Jonathan, you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Jonathan Arias. I'm a landlord-tenant attorney. I do civil litigation, but I focus a lot on landlord-tenant matters. Here in South Florida is where I'm based, but I handle matters all across the state. I've been an attorney for about 5 years, and I'm very honored to be here to talk to you today.
Thank you. Isaac?
Hello, my name is Isaac Sprague, and I am the owner and managing partner of the Sprague Law Firm, as well as the owner of Network Lead Exchange Miami here in Miami, sunny Miami, Florida. A little background about me is I served in the military. I did 32 years of active duty. I was a judge advocate general. I served as a special assistant to the U.S. attorney. I've been a war crimes prosecutor. And I opened my law firm in 2016 when I retired from the military here in Miami, Florida. My focus practice is personal injury and consumer law. A lot of the work we do here is results-based. Our motto is that we change wrong to right. And we've been able to do that successfully here in South Florida. And so I'm glad to be here, to be a member of the panel and talk about my law firm, the Sprague Law Firm, and the Network Lead Exchange Miami chapter. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you. And guys, I want to kind of jump into it and, talk about a couple of topics that are popular right now. And I know, Jonathan, this is in your wheelhouse, but with the landlord tenant issues going on right now with COVID, what's going on there, and what have you seen that's happening, and what are some trends there that are popular with that topic?
Yeah, it's a crazy mess right now. Landlords are protesting, especially here in Dade County, because the prior mayor, Mayor Jimenez, put an executive order in place prohibiting police from executing writs of possession, which basically dispossess people from property. And the reason why he did that was because we had a storm, a hurricane a few years back, and the county got some really bad PR because they were getting rid of people as they were evacuating from and hunkering down both from their properties. So they said, never again. Whenever we have another emergency, we're going to make sure that people aren't going to be kicked out. So fast forward, that protection kept getting renewed. It had an expiration date, it kept getting renewed. And then we had a new mayor, and she has not rescinded that order either. So federally, we have a protection, a moratorium that is supposed to expire on March 31st. And also in Dade County, we have this protection. And so people, landlords have been litigating. They're allowed to litigate matters, but at the end of the day, when they have a judgment from a judge and finally it's time for the sheriff to go out there and physically remove people, they're unable to do so. So it's crazy because these landlords have been paying their mortgages for a year and sometimes more if somebody was in arrears prior to the pandemic. And they have no relief. So it's tough for them. And other counties aren't doing this. I do cases, like I said, all around the state, definitely Broward, definitely Palm Beach and beyond. But at this point, Miami-Dade is the state's epicenter for COVID, and definitely has the highest population as well. So that's a protection they put in place, and it's really insane. COVID is it's a doozy. We'll see what happens after March 31st, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Isaac, what are you seeing as some trends, and what are you focusing on right now, and what's been trending in your wheelhouse there?
Well, in the personal injury arena, there's really, I wouldn't say there's any trends. People are negligent and harm others, whether it be, COVID, or it is a time tested negligence. So I'm not really seeing any trends. And as far as, regarding personal injury regarding COVID, as you are well aware, or some may be aware, there's been some legislation put forward to shield businesses who may require their employees to work under conditions where they may contract COVID or get sick, and they could potentially be open for liability, for negligence. If an employee catches COVID, for example, and was to be seriously ill or even die, God forbid, they could be open for liability for that. So, but again, the legislatures, both the federal and the state legislatures, are passing legislation to cover and to protect in my opinion, the offenders. But that's a story for another day. So I haven't seen any real trends, but that's something that's going on. In fact, part of the stimulus bill that was just passed, part of the hang up and why many Republicans did not vote for the bill is, they claim, is because it didn't offer enough protection for business owners and those people who may be subject to lawsuits. And of course, the personal injury lawyers and all the lawyers were like, oh no, don't give them any protections, because that's how that's how people get compensated for other people's negligence. But nonetheless.
So what type of networking are you guys both participating in? Obviously, networking is a huge topic for us. We're involved in a lot of different social networking, business networking, all kinds of groups, Network Lead Exchange specifically as well. What are you guys doing? Are you guys able to get out, to do any stuff in person, somewhat in person, only virtual? What are you guys doing right now with networking? What type of groups are you involved in, or meetups or anything like that?
Outside of my, obviously, Network Lead Exchange Miami, recently I haven't done a whole lot. I've visited other chapters. I go to other chapters meetings. I invite other members from other chapters to join my meetings. I coordinate with other owners of other chapters for, people that I see that could be a good fit in their chapter. I may coordinate that. But COVID has definitely put a damper on the face-to-face, person-to-person meetings. However, Miami, my chapter, Miami Network Lead Exchange, is going to start now. We are going to meet in person every month at least, and at the minimum would be once a quarter. But we're going to start. The people in my group are saying they want to meet in person. They want to get to know each other in person. So that's something that we are looking at. And as these vaccinations and the COVID subsides, I certainly will be going to more networking events. I know we have the the local expo and the World Expo coming up that I intend to participate in, and I'm sure you'll be putting out more information about that. But yeah, I intend, as this COVID subsides, I intend to do more in person and more networking outside of my Miami Network Lead Exchange.
And if I could just add to that before you jump in, Jonathan, in-person networking, obviously everybody needs to be cautious and be careful of what's going on. In-person networking is extremely valuable right now. And actually building communications and connections with people, just because I think everybody is a little, tired of the Zoom meetings. It's a little bit of an overkill. Obviously, there's pros to Zoom, a lot of them, but with Zoom, we don't get to build as many personal relationships as we can, actually getting to know each other. And so there's definitely a balance there. And I think everybody needs to be aware of that. And the fact that in-person events and networking are going to come back very strong as well, because everybody that goes to those events are going to really want to be at those events.
In my case, when the pandemic first hit, I was going to everything. My calendar was stacked up. I was like, let's just go on meetup.com and find out who's having virtual this, virtual that. And I was just there because why not? Yeah. But then I started to see that a lot of those organizations weren't creative. They didn't place a lot of value in really making it an effective networking time. It was more so, a monologue a lot of times. And so I didn't do that as much. Isaac, I'm going to put him out a little bit right now. Our meeting went over a little bit today, but he was like, he was saying, "Hey, that's good. This is good because that means we're talking, we're exchanging," and I agree with that. And so I think that NLX has done a good job of that, at least my chapter. And regarding in person, it's been tough because socially you don't want to be rejected, by other people. Like it takes me back to high school, asking a girl to the dance and getting shot down. So I don't want to get rejected. But that being said, I'm meeting some other attorneys for lunch on Thursday. So apparently somebody didn't reject me, but yeah, it's difficult. Like the phrase has been, okay, well, when things get normal again, we'll get some lunch, or we'll get some coffee, or we'll go out for a beer or something like that. But till now, I haven't done that except Thursday, and we'll see if I ease into it rather. But Miami's still kind of crazy. It's kind of a hot spot for COVID. We'll see. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, dipping your toes into it right now. As long as you're dipping your toes into it and kind of slowly getting back to not necessarily normal, but getting back a little bit. And I think it's going to take some time for everybody to be comfortable doing things. But it's all about getting back and building those relationships again. I think that's really important.
Now, yeah, I think in-person networking is going to come back strong. For example, if you like the people in your network, and I like the people, I handpick most of the people in my networking group because I like them. It would be nice to see them. It would be nice to have breakfast with them. It would be nice to have a drink with them. And so I think when it does come back, and I don't think I've ever said that. I mean, pre-COVID, you wouldn't be saying, "Oh, it would be nice to have a drink with it." You more or less be like, "Oh my God, that guy, he drinks so much. He's always out. He's always asking me out for drinks." Now you're like, "Oh man, it would be nice to meet up with some of these people, and let them, annoy you in person. It'll take some time because you haven't had a lot of interaction. Just like Jonathan, I had a dinner with a client last Thursday, and I can honestly say I think that was the first time in who knows that I had a no kidding social event with a client in months. And I must say that the people who were out at this restaurant, particularly this restaurant, were so friendly. They were more friendly than ever. It was almost like they were getting out. I'm sure they hadn't been out much, and so they, people were very receptive. People were more friendly. As you know, South Florida isn't always the friendliest place on earth, but I noticed that people were really engaging each other. So I think that that's going to happen with networking as well.
So I want to talk a little bit more specifically, just for a little bit about network lead exchange. And so why does network lead exchange make sense for you in your profession specifically?
Network lead exchange obviously has a great model. We have a great app, and it's a good program. But lawyers in general have been doing networking for years, right? This is how we refer each other business all the time because we have sort of a closed profession. You can only practice law if you have a law license, so forth and so on. And it's such a broad area that there's so many people who have expertise in areas that you can't possibly learn. So the referral business when you have lawyers in your group is something that we've been doing, and it's something that is a big part of any law firm or any lawyer. Furthermore, the best thing about having lawyers in your networking group is that many of our clients, the one person they trust is their lawyer. The one person they'll tell things that they've never told anyone to before is their lawyer. And in part because we have a fiduciary duty to our clients and we can't disclose things they say. But generally because we're looking out for their best interest. Sometimes their interest is tied to our interest. So they trust that, hey, this guy's going to do something right by me because it'll benefit him as well. But more importantly, my clients often come to me for things outside of my area of expertise. They'll say, hey, do you know a good general contractor? I don't want to get ripped off again because I do consumer law. So they're like, I don't want to get ripped off again. You have somebody, or they'll ask me, they'll say, hey, could you review this contract that I'm going to sign with someone who's going to do my roof? And I'll look at the contract for them. But that gives me a great opportunity to say, hey, you know what? Leave that guy alone. I have someone that I know you can trust. My general contractor can. And on top of that, I already know, at least I know what the competition is as far as the bill, as far as what they're charging this person. So I say, oh, I may or may not pass that information to my GC to say, hey, these jokers are doing this roof for $28,000. I think it's a little pricey. Do you think you can? Would you like me to refer this client to you and see what you can do? And that happens all the time because again, my clients trust me and they come to me all the time. So the having the lawyers in your networking group can be so beneficial to not just the lawyers, but to the contractors, the realtors, because we run across those issues all the time because our clients will bring us issues unrelated to the law practice. And then it gives us a good opportunity to refer those cases to people in our networking group. And another thing I've found that the trust that my clients put in me, and that they trust me, they kind of trust the referral I send them as well, because for whatever reason, they're like, well, this contractor or this lawyer or whomever isn't going to do wrong by me because they're going to have Isaac to answer to. And in some respect, that is 100% true. People in my network, if someone doesn't do right by someone I refer them to, they're probably going to have to answer. I'm just going to say, hey, what went on with this? In this case, why, she says you didn't call her back or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of benefits to that.
Definitely. And no, that's a great point, Isaac. And they're definitely going to trust a referral from an attorney. And I think that, and like you just said, attorneys come in contact with so many more opportunities than people would originally think, just because so many people trust an attorney with a lot of things that they have. And so those are all great points, guys. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I do, like I said, I'm a consumer lawyer as well as a personal injury lawyer. One of the things so when people get ripped off by companies and so forth, they come to me. And a lot of them, I get a lot of elderly folks who get ripped off by contractors, unfortunately, roofers and GCs who come. And I look at the contract that they have and I say, well, it's clear, you shouldn't have signed this contract. This contract was completely one-sided. And then as I get them resolution, when I get them resolution on their case, I then tell them from here on in, do not sign anything unless you run it by me. Send it to me. Send me this. And so I establish these relationships, and then and then it comes, and then I'm able to, because in the back of my mind, I'm saying, yes, send me anything that you contract. But in the back of my mind, I know, if you should be sending me this, one, so I can look at it, two, so I can possibly refer that person to my general contractor or my AC guy or my roofing guy or whatever the case may be. So you have to think ahead of time on these referrals, on how best to make your clients comfortable that they'll come to you with any and all issues that they have. And of course, with some respect, if I refer someone to a general contractor that is in my group and I know they're going to take care of them, yes, that may be cutting into my business, because that client is that general contractor is going to take care of this person, and they're not going to have an issue. They're not going to have to come back and say, hey, that general contractor, never showed up, took the deposit, never came back. Well, that's not going to happen. And so it's always nice to be able to refer clients to people who are good, that are good.
And that's a really good point, Isaac. And I think one of the things that people miss is that if someone's coming to you with a contract in the first place, that means that they don't know and trust that person anyway. And so if you come back to them and saying, hey, instead of me going through this contract and tearing it to shreds, here's a guy who has a contract that I 100% approve of, and I know this person personally. We've done business together. They do a great job. And that's a huge swap right there.
Right. That's a huge, boost in the art. That's like, it gives your referral instant credibility. Your referral has the credibility that you have garnered. Mm-hmm. Because if you're a good attorney and the client has trusted you and you've gotten good results, then they're going to trust your opinion as to who you refer. And so that is why for example, I refer Jonathan many cases, probably, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 cases a month, 10 to 20 cases a month. And these folks find me, and they, often they call me and they say, I need this or that. And they find me and they say, oh, you had great reviews. You got a great reputation. So and I thank them, but when I refer them and I say, well, I'm not taking these kind of cases, but I have someone in my network who does. Would you like me to refer them to you? I know he does a great job. I've worked with him in the past. Again, my credibility is passed on to Jonathan, and at least initially, the client has some degree of comfort with the referral.
That's a absolutely great point, and it's exactly what we were getting at here. And Jonathan, do you have anything else to add to the conversation?
Anytime you can have a group of attorneys together, it just changes the game. For me, I know there are plenty of other people in our chapter, but we're we just had an attorney visit this morning, and I just see that part of it is going to be strong compared to other chapters that I've been a part of. So that, for me personally, it makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and attorneys are the foundation of obviously of our Network Lead Exchange Miami, but it is such a natural. I mean, I get referrals for immigration attorneys. I get referrals for contract attorneys, and so I'm in that business, and so people, if even if you were in an accident and I was your personal injury attorney, you don't know a contract attorney. You don't. The only attorney is you looking at him. And so when you want to go and when you want to find someone else, where you need an immigration attorney then you're probably going to start with the one attorney either your aunt's cousin's brother is an attorney and you're going to call them. You don't even know what kind of attorney they are. You don't even know what they do. And you're probably like, I don't even like my aunt that much. So you may not, but it's just a level of comfort that people get by being able to get a referral by their own attorney. So that's, it is certainly and the more attorneys that you have in your group, the more likely your group will be successful, because we are in the business of referring each other business, and that's something that's been around well before networking groups were ever created. Our chapter is growing. Me as an attorney and as the owner have been able to get a number of attorneys in our chapters, but we have general contractors, residential realtor, commercial realtor, and we are growing. But what makes our chapter so amazing is the presence of the amount of lawyers that we have in our chapters. As you well know, that our clients trust their lawyers, and so they bring to us a lot of issues that are unrelated to our practice that they seek, help with, advice with. And besides giving them advice, sometimes I'm able to refer my clients to other people within my network, like the general contractor or a roofer or an AC guy. So what's not commonly known is how much lawyers have access to people who need help in areas outside of the legal profession. So I've found that the more lawyers we have in our group, the more active and the more referrals that are being sent out, because lawyers are very active. One of the members in my group is Jonathan Arias of the Onyx Group, who focuses on landlord-tenant, and I'm going to pass it on to him, and so he can say a few things about our Network Lead Exchange Miami.
Thank you, Isaac, for that. Network Lead Exchange has been absolutely critical to the growth of my business. I get on average about 10 to 20 referrals per month from Network Lead Exchange, and a significant portion of my monthly revenue comes directly from referrals obtained from Network Lead Exchange. And so, as Isaac said, the diversity of individuals in the professions in our NLX chapter is absolutely critical to obtaining referrals from a variety of different places that I wouldn't have thought prior to that would even be viable referral options. So for me, there are a lot of different attorneys, but also realtors will often run into landlord-tenant issues and want to come my way. Closing and title agents will send people my way, as well as sometimes even construction folks. And so I'm very happy with our chapter and what we've been able to accomplish in the short time that we've existed. I've been here since the beginning, and I'll be here to the end.
You know, it was great to get to know you guys. I want to thank everybody that is listening to the panel. Make sure to keep track with all of our events going on and our industry expert panels, our local business expo that's coming up in June 26th at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. And thanks again, everybody.